Everyone, welcome to Staples High School, where we're pretty much going to have a historic night here today. Boys basketball team going for the first undefeated season. And I have a special guest here with me, Drew Acamando. Drew, how are you?
Great, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Man, so much. We've been fighting this battle to have you on, haven't we?
Yeah, a couple weeks going back and forth, but we endured. We're here today.
We are. For those of you who don't know Drew is a strength conditioning coach. Has worked with a lot of the basketball players that you're going to see tonight on the floor. And Drew, I want to kick off first by asking you. I know you have been following this team a little bit this year. Talk to us about your feeling of seeing just as being part of this special night for these guys that you know so well.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was years in the making, right? Not only with Coach Goldshore coming here to develop the foundation, this group of kids has been, working so hard collectively together, not only here in the basketball team, but across multiple sports for many, many years. So I think this is super fitting.
So you've worked out of these guys, and you talked about multiple sports and everything that you do with them. But how did this come about? I mean, how did you start working with them? Because, I asked around, and your name came up a lot.
Sure.
As part of the success these guys have done. But talk a little bit about the work you do with these guys that people don't see so much.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm in my 8th year here. I came on initially with Coach Kashansky for the Staples lacrosse team. Started working with the football team, and then before you know it, Kashansky and those guys endorsing me to Coach Goldshore. And I've known Coach Goldshore actually for years. We trained his son in baseball, Jake. So, it just came naturally. But, I think with these guys, how did it come about was your question, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, Coach Goldshore was looking to develop a program. He didn't just want a basketball team. And with a program, he needed to assess, what do I need to do for these guys, not only on the court, but off the court, holistically. He was really looking for somebody to, I think, speak the same language. And seeing that we were doing that for some other sports teams and how that was going pretty well, I think it was just a natural next step for the basketball team.
Now, I'm going to ask, there is always a myth about strength and conditioning. It's not a myth. I mean, it's like, you talk to some people, it's all about nutrition.
Sure.
Talk to the people, it's all about working out, you put in your body.
Yeah.
I remember, I'm not a great athlete, but in high school, I'd eat a McDonald's on the way to the game, But what has evolved, and what do you think has been the key to just, I look at Sam, I'll talk about Sam
Sure.
I saw Sam freshman year, this little kid who was taking outside shots, now he's a powerhouse inside.
Yeah.
But what's the transformation like, and what do you do that's so special?
They're great questions, and I think just a quick point about Sam. I mean, sure, some of the highlights that people will see is, he's up 21 pounds, right? His vertical jump is up 6 inches, and that's all the flashy, fun stuff. I mean, the first day in the weight room with these guys, the cultural shift that you're talking about from when you and I were in high school is, listen, you're not here to be a weight room superstar, right? You're here, number one, to prevent injuries. If you get hurt, you can't play. And the foundation of that sure ties in, number one, movement quality. And that's tough with a bunch of high school kids that want to walk into a flashy weight room and tell their friends how much they bench and how many pull-ups they can do and how much they squat. But it's really buying in, like I said, to the culture, to the language of, hey guys, right? Victory favors the prepared. And what does that mean? That means that we are in here, first and foremost, to develop a health and fitness foundation for the rest of our lives. We talked about athletes. They're athletes first. We're in a world of that early sports specialization, and all they do is play basketball, but we're developing athletic skills. We're developing movement quality, and that's them learning the fundamental patterns of movement that aren't only applicable here, they're applicable for the rest of their life. So
it's such a great point because you touched on specialization, right? Big word everybody talks about. You got to play all the sports, but you have players who love one sport and want to play one sport. Is the conditioning for that different, or does it help? How do you view that?
Sure, and it's a great program. It's a great question to talk about our program at Staples High School, right? These kids have a printed out data tracking program that they follow, and every 4 weeks we periodize that phase, and it's everything encompassing, right? Speed, power, strength, but with the movement quality and with the sport demands in mind. So Sam Sacco, since I've been working with him, he only plays basketball, but we still need to move in multiple directions and train some of the movement patterns that he might have had if he plays football. Jumping and landing, forward and backwards, rotation, a lot of rotation.
And that's amazing because the naysayers about playing just one sport will say the problem is the movement. And you're fixing that because you're giving all that, right?
It's a lack of supplementation on the outside, and I think that that's just the knowledge base that we're developing today, and that's the advancement of the Coach Kashansky's and the Matty Jackalofts and the Coach Goldshores and the rest of the team here at Staples High School. They understand the importance of true education with their athletes, an actual program around the clock that takes into consideration that these kids play all year round. How do we monitor that?
Right.
We do through recovery modalities. We do that through nutrition. I mean, I wish you were downstairs before when I was finishing my workout. 10, 15 years ago, you would have never seen a team of guys foam rolling using bands for activation and preparation where they're bought in, man. That's the special thing about this group is they buy into the little details, the attitudes, the effort, the things that they can control. They really invest in that.
And I know it's a loaded question. You might not be answering.
Yeah.
Nutrition or conditioning? What's more important, or is it a combination of both?
I mean, you can't condition without nutrition. Sam, I could keep going back, but to make relative sort of comments regarding your question, Sam had a cramping issue last year.
I remember that. It was a couple games.
It was all electrolyte. It was just not enough carbohydrate supplementation during his exercise, during his fitness, during his competition. Not enough sodium, potassium, and magnesium. So we condition these guys. We do hard stuff together, and that's that cultural buy-in that has really allowed them, I think, to grow as a unit. But you can't do that with the understanding of fueling your body. And it's meticulous. These kids, they're sleeping in, missing breakfast, but little by little, they'll grasp the concepts of how that collectively works. And just one touch on conditioning. It's really, man, these kids, they work so hard in the off season. They get to fatigue levels in the weight room and out on the hill sprints and interval training on the track that they'll never touch here. And they're building the whole mental sort of side of conditioning.
And mental has become so important, right? Not, I mean, we talk about mental health all around, but the mental health in play. How do you guys work that with this program? What do you see, and what have you done to make it better for them?
I mean, number one, I think that this could be the biggest thing. It's to establish a relationship, a true, trustworthy relationship with these guys. I mean, I'll say it on here, you're asking them about their personal life. You're talking to them about their breakup. And I know that sounds silly, but you really want to be a go-to mentor for them in their life because this is a world of a lot of different pressures and social pressure. And the weight room can be a place like that. Looking at your buddy, how much weight does he have on the bar? But if you create a safe space, a place that, hey guys, we don't judge, you can't fail. You win or you learn, and we're in this together. So, with the mental side, I think Coach Goldshore, a lot of these coaches at Staples, all the way up to the athletic department, they're teachers, they're principals. I know they're working out in the weight room. It's the environment that's being built around them, and you guys as a community investing in people that care, not only about the cool undefeated seasons. I mean, that's great. Look at these guys aren't injured. They're happy. They're having fun together. And that's really what's going to lead to long-term success.
And you touch on that because people always talk about staying healthy is the key, right? This team has stayed healthy, knock on wood, through this whole season. And, okay, now, we talked about this team, but talk about ATP and what you guys do.
Sure.
People are going to listen to this. They're going to look and say, well, I love it. How do I get involved? How do I find out about it? How does it work?
Thanks,
Talk a little bit about ATP and what you do that's been so successful here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I went to school for health and physical education, and I had a teaching background. So my high school football teammate, my best friend today, is my business partner, Dr. Bukla. ATP, listen, we're a chiropractic and personal training studio that helps people, busy professionals and athletes, move better, feel better, live better through chiropractic treatment care, right? And hands-on, personalized programming. And it generally starts with an initial full assessment. People coming in, clients coming in every day for full movement analysis to understand, body fat, skeletal muscle mass, nutrition. How many calories should I eat? How many calories do I burn? How do I prevent injuries to be able to do the stuff that I love today for the next 20 years? And our client range is from 35-year-old busy professionals to your 77, 78, 80-year-old client. They want to do the stuff that they were doing 20 years ago today. So, I mean, we're in our 9th year now in South Norwalk. We're crossing the Maritime Aquarium, and growing, evolving, learning, and we love it, man. We're there all day.
I can feel the passion, and for everyone, we're gonna have the link down here for you guys.
I appreciate that.
You can find them, and that like that. And I know this is not going to be a last conversation because just talking about fitness, you didn't know me a few years ago, but for the last, I want to say, year and a half, my wife got me into fitness, and like last year I was in the triathlon, all that stuff, and the way I feel, it's totally different than before. Nutrition's part of it, but you feel so much better.
Can you tell me what you mean by that? Feeling of energy, of clarity, or of confidence? Like it's happiness?
I think it's happiness.
Yeah.
It's confidence. Right, because you feel good walking into a room. Sure. You feel good like talking to people. You know what I mean?
Did you struggle with the habit prior to that of the consistency of training?
100%. Well, I was a guy who thought I don't like working out.
Never tied the feeling of the after effect. The world's changing in that.
Yeah.
The awareness.
Yeah, goosebumps when you talk about that.
The awareness of how I feel is greater than how I look. Exercise was this booming bodybuilding image atmosphere for many, many years. And that aesthetic component's great, but we are going more towards longevity, how we feel, and because we want to access our own human performance.
I think once people get the feeling, you get the feeling I feel good. First of all, I sleep better. When you're when you move, you sleep better.
Sleep better. The clarity throughout your day, your relationships are better. How you feel about yourself better. You're more inclined to eat more, or eat healthier, I should say. You want to retain your muscle mass because you're afraid to not be able to hike that mountain that you've been hiking, or do another triathlon in 10 years. So.
I just signed up for a 10K, the Minuteman. I'm I started out, said I got to get myself ready, right? Because
you're a goal.
Yeah, exactly. You got to have those goals. Now, what I think is so important, because we're talking about, I'm 45, but you're getting these kids, they're establishing a habit very early, right? And how do you see that play now in their life and in their mental? Because once you get that feeling, at least for me, I want it all the time.
Well, I could tell you now, having done it for 9 years, I've been at Staples for 8 years, right? And I've been working with high school athletes for 14 years since I graduated. When it sticks, it sticks. I mean, I'm still developing and fostering a lot of those relationships today, and it's really special. So I think as long as you're persistent in your relationships, for me, busy guy, busy at work, building a team, building a business, recently married, love my wife, building my family, you need to value the relationship with these kids and be a mentor, be a resource for them. Never overlook that text message that came in on, hey, coach, I'm going to be around. Can I stop into the gym? How's ATP? It's being responsive, and it's really going that extra level of mentorship, I believe.
It's so important. And I think fitness, and I got into it, like I said, but I see it as a big thing that drives the mental aspect of it. Our society, we have this mental health crisis. But how do you see a change mentally when these kids come in to they stay with the program? What do you see the biggest change you see on that?
I think it's the comfort and confidence in knowing that they can go into a weight room or they can go into a gym and have success, and they can stick to their path and focus on their own self-improvement as opposed to constantly measuring against others. And that is our world, and we're all guilty of it. So I see a difference from a kid's first 5 minutes to his last 5 minutes, and the smile and the energy and the camaraderie. And just going back to Staples, Coach Goldshore popping his head in the weight room. I wish I could show everybody a live stream video of these kids working out and how they're supporting and lifting one another up. And they're part of something. And that's what we want as people, as humans. We love to belong to an area that makes us feel better and get stronger and move better.
And do you were as you were talking about that, we were talking about feeling good and all that.
Yeah.
You're a very positive guy. It's our first time looking at it. It's I almost feel like you can't be in shape and be healthy. and like to not feel good about it. I think that's a big part of it. Don't you see that, Joe?
It's so funny. You keep saying feel good, and it's just over here for too many people, right? Like they can't conceptualize feeling good. There's so many roadblocks that are that's getting in their way every day. And that's the hardest part of our journey, but it's where we find the most success at ATP is we build true relationships and we build a community that makes you feel comfortable to come in, whether you've never worked out before, or you were an ex-athlete, or you were somebody, or you were in better shape, and leaving that egotistical behavior out the door and really being vulnerable and honest and open. And I think that's really our edge is we provide an environment that allows people to open up, forget the past, measure today versus yesterday, because that's all we have is today.
And it's so, I was going to ask you about the secret sauce, and I think you just said it.
What's that?
The secret sauce, which is like, you make them feel better than you would say. It was like, it's not about comparison, it's about what you set for yourself.
You gotta be present one day at a time, and it's hard. It's really hard to look back and be like, I'm not in as good a shape, or, you know, I missed 2 days, I'm done. And it's just like helping them, anything's better than nothing. Just show up. And it's those small steps, and that's why we have a small space. It's why we provide personalized care. It's why we have personalized programming. And our team is all about that hand-holding process to bring you to and through all these checkpoints so you can see your wins.
I couldn't agree more, because when you get that small environment, you can kind of be open. You talk about being open about, you know, that relationship. Now, and I do want to ask about, because you've been working with Sam for these 4 years, and I know because his dad and all that. What was the biggest change you saw from him in 4 years? I mean, like I said,
Sam?
we can see the physical, but what was the biggest change?
Let's put the 20 pounds aside. Let's put the 6 inches of the vertical. Let's put the 8 inches on the broad jump. That kid will take the ball to the rack way harder now. He'll take a physical hit. He walks around with his chin up, smile on his face. I think it's the standalone confidence. He knows all the hours he's put in that weight room. He wouldn't change a thing about his process. And when you can look back and say, I wouldn't change a thing about my process, it allows you to be so much more comfortable with where you are today. And I think Sam is a very special kid because he's intellectual. He asks great questions. He's a student. You tell him something once, he's not only doing it himself, he's sharing it with somebody else, making those around him better. There's many of those guys. The Dylan Moments, the Mason Tobias, they're all over the place on this team. Coach Gosher has done a great job. So the biggest difference I see, because you asked for that, and I always appreciate Jeff for asking me to come on here with you. This has been a great time. Yeah, Sam, I think, has opened up a weapon he didn't know was there, and it's his ability to persevere, to work hard, to get gritty. Man, he will foam out of the mouth before he quits. And I think when you step onto the court knowing I've worked harder than any of these guys around me, I'm just as strong, if not stronger. I'm 180 pounds and 5'11". I could grab the rim. He's like, what else, you know?
I see, like, also, you talk about that, but I see a lot of confidence in him. So I talked to him, obviously, I talked to him a lot this year, right? But I viewed the interviews I did as a sophomore to a senior. He was different. And I think it's a lot of it up here, but also because he's bigger now. His game is different. He doesn't need to score 20 points to feel good. Because I had some people say, like, girls need to feel good to play good, and the boys need to play good to feel good. Right? But I don't think that's the point when you're that confident. You're always feeling good.
Again, the weight room is a really beautiful place. If you can foster it the right way, you can develop confidence in many, many facets, whether it's I feel strong, or I feel fit, or I feel like I can protect myself, whatever it is. And I think you're right. I think Sam has a different chip on his shoulder of level of confidence because, man, he's bigger, faster, stronger than 99.9999% of these kids out there.
It's crazy. Now, I want to talk so much more about you. So I want to on air invite you to a podcast. I think we're going to have a great time because I think this is a subject a lot of people, ask about, especially a lot of our audience has kids at an early age, right? Elementary school, middle school. And they want to find out what does Staples do to have all the success. And I think you're part of it, not only in basketball, but the entire program. Now, I want to ask you about tonight's game. Now, I just want to talk about What do you think is going to happen tonight here?
Can I say one thing about the youth thing really quick? Because it's the biggest
100%.
question we get is how early is too early to start? It's never too early to help your kid develop movement competency. Just being able to move better, the fundamentals, the foundations, the movement mechanic, and teaching them to have fun and develop a positive relationship with the health and fitness world, with the weight room, and doing it with their parent, with somebody like us. And it's never too early, and that's the biggest takeaway. Does weightlifting stunt your growth and all these mythical things? It's like teaching people, young kids, how to move better is only going to set them up for the platform at the high school. So I'm excited for that. But
but that's the thing. That's will be one of the topics we're going to tackle. So
let's do it. Yeah, I'm just giving them a couple more nuggets.
I love that. But tonight, the undefeated in the line.
100% Stables by 11, if not more.
I love it.
That's the energy.
I know. Like, look at this, Drew. Thank you so much for being on.
Everyone,
Everyone, take it back to says enjoy the game.
Thanks, everyone.